This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
David House will describe it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods: time, people, places, things, and boy, oh boy, experiences. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports. Auburn family. I'm all messed up. Auburn sports. I'm so jazzed up from last night, I can't even get the intro out. Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and of course, Auburn family stuff. If I need to put a finer point on it for you, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you for joining us in what we do on this episode 103 of the Auburn Experience podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Loomis, back with you alongside me as always, my good friend, yours, Mr. Austin Scott. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Kyle. Good to see you. Good to hear you, even if you're a little jumbled up.
I'm jumbled up because I'm at a different location tonight, but and I may sound a little bit different, so apologize if the quality is a little bit lower tonight, but we're making do because boy, oh boy, the last 24 to 48 hours have been quite fun, quite entertaining, quite thrilling. I still don't know if my what do you call it? Your rhythm of your heart, your heartbeat.
Yeah.
I can't even figure out words anymore, like phrases, normal common sense things, just to make coherent sentences, which makes really great content for a podcast. But here we are today. We'll get to all that. Don't worry. The whole portion of our main topics this evening is going to be focused solely on the game, everything around it. Auburn versus Texas A&M. We will get to that, but we always want to dedicate the start of our show to Auburn potpourri, all the different news and stuff that could be out there. So let's cover some of that and try to not keep our focus on what we all want to focus on tonight. That amazing. By the way, just real quick, as a quick aside, how much sleep have you gotten, sir?
Not enough. I am exhausted right now.
What time did you hit the bed last night?
Oh, what time did I hit the bed? Maybe 1. But I don't think I mean, there was too much adrenaline pumping.
So sleep by 2?
I want to say yes. I'm not sold on that. I just truly don't remember. I just remember thinking, I don't know if I'm going to fall asleep. I'm just jazzed up. But I did at some point, and we made it to church this morning. So
you are a much better man than I. I did not arrive at my location to lay my head down until 2:30.
Gracious.
And my adrenaline and my process of just getting ready for bed and stuff did not meant 4 o'clock. So
my goodness.
Yes, we're here. And that's why there may be some differences in us and our cadence and all that stuff tonight, but we're making it through because we definitely got to talk about all things. All right, Auburn potpourri stuff. Let's dive into it a little bit. I don't think we have any major updates on the Bald Eagle story from last week. I think a lot of that has died down. Not that we want to spend time talking about, but I want to caution you all. Please be aware. Please be aware. I'm not trying to diminish the story in any way because I know there's a lot of hurt feelings and probably rightfully so in this thing. But I have noticed, as a person who used to work in the sciences field, in the bird conservation field, one of the biggest things that you can do to hurt bird conservation is being an obsessive fanatic about certain things and drive people away from these stories. And I've seen so many of that and tried to combat that a little bit within our own content. Certainly, I think there's room for discussion, but when you become a obsessive fanatic about certain movements and certain things like that, you just do more harm than good. So if you're seeing that, ignore it. If you're part of that, stop it. You're making it more worse than it is. So that's my PSA for the Auburn Bald Eagle story to start off the show. I didn't even give Austin a chance to talk about it. So let's talk about some sports here. We'll start with the sad news, I think, because we're going to have so much happy tonight. One of the fall sports is officially complete for the year. Coach Karen Hoppe and the soccer team are now officially done with the season, falling 2-1 to Ohio State in what would be not the quarterfinals, but the second round, I guess is what
correct.
It would be. The second round of the NCAA tournament. Almost mounted a roaring comeback at the very tail end of the game. They're going down 2-0 early, or 2-0, I should say. Sad to say that the season is over, but boy, what a fun season, especially that home portion that we had for the Tigers.
Really, really fun season. Sad to see it end. Hopper revenge tour has come to a close, but they came back with a roaring vengeance this year after a subpar year last year. A lot of seniors on the team to be thankful for and to see do so well this year. So sad to see it end, as we always are. when an Auburn sport ends, but a really great year for that group.
Yeah, and never let it be said that even in the what would be the quote unquote down years for Coach Karen Hopper and her program, she always finds a way to respond.
Yes.
Taking care of business at home, undefeated, record attendance again. I don't know if it's been the top of their record attendance numbers, but it's been up there with all of that stuff. So there's been a lot of excitement. We've attended a lot of things. We had the privilege of being one of the media members there and covering that for the tournament game at home. So sad ending, but certainly a very fun year for the Tigers, and we look forward for more years, hopefully, under Coach Karen Hoppe and what they're going to continue to do as a soccer program. Let's skip from the fall sports and go over to winter for a little bit. That is in session, and lots of excitement this week, Austin. Boy,
yes.
Oh boy, the Maui. What would I just say to you if you could spend a week in Hawaii and, oh, by the way, go watch one of the best basketball teams in the land? What would you say to that?
I'd say, what did we miss our flight? What happened?
No, we didn't miss our flight. I wish, so wish that we could, find a way to get one of us there. And frankly, I'm sorry, I would be the one going before anybody else.
Well,
you'd be right there with me. You'd be the next in line.
Maui, baby.
Achuma Okiki. Sorry, really rest in peace, the person who did that last time we were there, that being Bill Walton. But this is a big moment for Auburn basketball, not just because of the current times, how they're performing, the perception about them, but this is a big tournament. You got the likes of Iowa State that's going to be there. You've got Michigan State. You've got North Carolina, Dayton, UConn, Colorado, Memphis. Every one of these teams that is going to be competing in there, at least now, recently, has been a factor and a name that you take seriously in college basketball. It's the same way every single year in the Maui Invitational. In my opinion, and I feel like most people would agree, this is the premier tournament for college basketball at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think I think a lot of people tune into this one and the Bahamas one, but yep. I think this one's the one you see perennial field of top teams,
yep.
and this one's no different at all. I think people are even overlooking some of the smaller ones. You got Dayton, has a very rich basketball history. Colorado, who made it to the Sweet 16 last year, somewhere around there,
something like that.
So a very good teams in this tournament. Only helps Auburn's strength of schedule, as we have talked about at length on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what three opponents Auburn ends up playing; they will all be hard games. And this team, it needs it. It's why they scheduled games like this and accepted bids to these tournaments like this. So it's going to be fun. Is it Feast Week? Is how they market it on
Something
Thanksgiving?
Like
I love it. I love it, and I know we're all jazzed about football, rightfully so. But man, this is a very, very fun college basketball week, and I'm excited.
If it goes the way that Auburn fans think, believe, and hope that it might, what a week it will
Absolutely.
Be for Auburn sports right now. Even just for talking about what Auburn fans get to experience with the Maui Invitational and Auburn being in it once again. Let's talk a little bit non-sports stuff. And this is a more local story, but I think it's important because what we like to find are these things that impact people's memories and things like that. And we're gonna talk about a laundromat. I know what I'm saying, folks. I understand that this feels like it's a little weird, but I believe it is called Thatch Cleaners is the correct name for this business. Is officially, well, I shouldn't say officially, is on property that has been officially sold to the university, as notes have suggested from the Board of Trustees meeting for Auburn University. What they're going to do with that space is interesting. It is, if I'm not mistaken, across from the culinary arts school building, that whatever that's called. Where
yes, the Rain Culinary Center is on one intersection corner. The Collegiate Hotel is on another. And then the one across from that. So would you say Caddy Corner? Is that
Caddy
correct?
Corner. I love Caddy Corner. We'll go with
Caddy Corner is from Rain Culinary Center to this property.
Thank you.
I cannot remember the fourth one. It's a church right there.
I think that's the church that's selling it, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not actually.
Auburn Methodist is on the other side. But
see, I'm working off.
It's all right.
My directions are a little bit off this morning. It's night, Kyle. My gosh. All right,
you're doing great.
Thank you. People who see this clip online are going to be like, what is going on with these fools? Just watch the whole show and you know. I will just say this. While this is not the biggest deal for everybody, it is one of those another things that continues to be chipped away in Auburn's, heritage as a small town, small businesses, small community. Obviously, that will probably be I think we can all make the assumption it will be redeveloped in some facet. And my mother either worked there for a time or used to go do her laundry all the time when she was here as a student. So there's, some family ties in a way. So I can imagine, you know what I equate this to, Austin? When the hardware store downtown closed. Did you go in it? No, but you walked past it all the time and it just felt like a staple of your downtown Auburn experience.
Sure. Yeah, the laundromat shared a building with a used to be coffee shop there, the Bean. They are now across from Fusakli's on Dean, and so they have relocated, I think, in preparation of this a few years ago. But so yeah, I get people saying redevelopment. I totally understand it. That Auburn is, you could say, not a village anymore. It's a bit more of a city. But I think that the fact that it's being sold to the university helps that the university is still the focal point of this town. Still a town built around it. So, I don't, whether this ends up being dorms or ends up being, teaching areas, I don't know. We'll find out, I'm sure, soon. But I like that it's not just going to some outside developer like we've seen other locations around town.
Yeah, and if you think about it this way, it's interesting to watch what used to be this compact footprint for the university continues to almost stretch out its arm further and further into at least the back portion of the downtown area, which can get quite, I know it's a lot to take in for some people, but certainly change happens. My heroes, Walt Disney, said it's not a museum, speaking of his theme parks, but I think that concept here, it's not a museum. Things have to change if it's done the right way. And as you pointed out, I think the university taking over that should help in some way people reconcile if you're having a hard time with this. But regardless, change continues. Auburn still remains the same. I think that's going to do it for our potpourri because we have too much other thing to talk about. So let's waste no further time. And Austin, we're going to talk about the game first. There's so many other things from this weekend that made it such a great final home weekend for Auburn football. But we got to talk about what we all if you were there, well, frankly, if you watched it on TV, I'm sure you were taken through the roller coaster ride too. Just to give you a very quick recap, which will not do justice, the Auburn Tigers went up 21-0 to start off the game. 21 unanswered points, followed by 21 unanswered points by the Texas A&M Aggies. Auburn retook the lead. Texas A&M came back and took the lead with a 10-point swing. Auburn ties it with a field goal to send it to overtime 1, overtime 2, overtime 3, overtime 4. And your Tigers are finally victorious, 43-41. Do we sound tired? There's a reason for that. We discussed it pre-show or at the beginning of the show. I got in bed fell asleep at 4:00 last night. You about 2, it seems like. Boy, oh boy. Let's just talk about the game. Where to start here? I'll let you take the reins, sir. Where do you want to start talking about what happened in this game?
Yeah, sure. Well, I do want to address the elephant in the room, or the tiger in the room, I should say, as most people are wondering. I was at the game, and we did win. So we can put that to rest, which I know most of you won't. But I was at the game. I was in attendance and saw a victory. Kyle can attest. We watched the eagle flight together, and Independence soar beautifully. Almost took out some heads on this Auburn sideline. But we watched the eagle fight together. And then how long did you stay up there? We're getting into the non-game part, but go ahead.
Well, it's fine. It's fine. I think I stayed for the first series, and then I went up with my peons up in there.
Yes,
by peons, I mean
peons. I'm sure it was much colder.
Actually, believe it or not, it was not that bad.
I was warm. I was comfortable most of the night.
Well, you were warm because of all the fuzzy feelings you had in the first half.
Obviously.
I mean, let's start there. Unless you have something else you want to.
No, you're right. part of this also is I got to go with Emily, my wife, and my brother Ashton, and my mother Jenny. And we that was kind of the first time the four of us have gotten to go. First time I've gotten to watch an Auburn game with my brother because of his work in a long time, and so that was very special. Regardless of how it had gone, it was going to be very special to get to do that with him. And we, we go up 21-0. Cam Coleman's having the day we all dreamed of, and I'm thinking, yeah, the Scott brothers have brought this back. The Scott brothers have brought the magic back into this place. No, but I mean, I'm serious. I'm thinking there's part of you is like 50-50. Part of you's like, we're about to blow the doors off of this team. And part of you's like, oh boy. Oh, there's a lot of time left for us to figure out a way to screw this up.
I thought about it.
But the offense it was just clicking. It felt like they were playing just unafraid, playing loose, getting anything they wanted, and it just working. It felt everything was going in their favor. And it was an offense that we expected to see, very balanced, but also one where Peyton Thorne is able to take the deep shots to this talented receiver group, hit with them, and then Jarquez Hunter is able to just come at you again and again and again.
Feed the beast, feed the beast, feed. That was the chant that was with my group that I was sitting with. It was incredible, just ups and downs. I hate to admit it, but when we went up 21-0 and everybody around me is just in good vibes, I could not celebrate because I've seen this, I've sung this song, I've danced this dance before this season, and I knew nothing was safe.
Yeah.
It was just gut wrenching to watch it go away. But as much as you can focus on the negative and say, well, we shouldn't have never let that happen or things like that, I think if you're able to be a reasonable person and talk about things in context and what the reality of this team is trying to find itself, trying to find its identity, trying to find, I would dare to say, its purpose this year in some ways. Of course, the purpose is to win the football game, but who are they? They've been a team that has struggled to learn how to finish and win a game. And boy, did they do that. Had every excuse. I think we were all very deflated with 2 minutes left as it comes down to the offense to win the game. Because as great as they played in the first half, we've all seen that happen time and time again. And we're not talking about just on Peyton. We're talking about offensive line woes.
Everything stalled.
And then all of a sudden we slowly start making plays. Can we I just want to address this right now. We've not been shy about our opinions about people who are very rude towards Peyton Thorne here. If you have anything bad to say about him last night, you have truly shown to me you have a lack of character as an Auburn fan. Because the man put his body on the line to win the game for you. Did he have another very bad mistake that resulted in I think they got a points off of that interception, right?
A field goal.
Field goal. We're not ignoring the issues at all, but the man, heart and soul, all the ridicule, all the shame that people want to lump on the dude, and he has nothing but good things to say about the fans. Now, of course, you're supposed to say things in public, but he showed a lot more character than some of you guys out there, and I think that needs to be addressed sometimes. So,
no, I couldn't agree more. And his stats, I think we've said a lot in past weeks about the way he plays is what you want as far as someone who's willing to put it all out there and play aggressively. But in the stats haven't always maybe backed that up. But I mean, my goodness, that the recipe for Auburn to win games is what Peyton Thorne did last night. And even I know the interception was bad. And even that is unlucky in itself, that it just bounces off a guy's chest. That's the issue part of him throwing it to the guy's chest. But straight to the other defender is unlucky in itself. So that drive, and you were talking about the drive to win the game, and I guess we're jumping ahead from through the game here, but
that's drive. We're trying to process it all.
That's really, I guess, the drive to tie the game is really only halfway through the game if you think about it. But that drive with Peyton and the offense finding everything they needed. And even when they tried to shoot themselves in the foot a couple times with some false starts, still just finding what they needed to get down there and like you said, not finish, but get the game, do what they needed to do to continue the game. showed more than has been shown most of the from the offense most of the season. So the scramble from him on 4th and 2 is what I'll remember the most, I think, from his play that of the game. But just a really good job. And we're only talking about the offense, so maybe I'll segue into the defense here.
Yeah, let's do that.
But lights out. Obviously, when you go up 21-0, playing like I felt like they were feeding off the energy of the crowd. A crowd who's begged for this night game, a student section who's begged for this night game for probably 2 years. So I felt like they really fed off it. You saw that freshmen that we've talked about all year long be making plays and stepping up. They're not freshmen. I think Gus used to say they're not freshmen by this time. They are by year and title, but they are not freshmen after 11 games.
Right.
They stepped up. That still has to provide a lot of excitement for the future. Just really impressed with the game plan, the execution, and not quitting when things got bad and saying, well, here it goes again. Even when they took the lead. I think that's what really just hits me the most is it wasn't just, oh, we let them catch up or we let them go ahead. And it was, we're not going to get into it. I have no good things to say about all the people that left with over 2 minutes left in the game.
No, I want Dagnabbit say it.
I'm too tired. I'm too tired. I got no time for those people. I told my brother, who, like I said earlier, has not been able to come to a game all year, has hardly gotten to watch a game all year. I cannot believe these people are quitting. I hope they did not get to come back in. I truly hope they did not get to come back in the stadium.
I want us to speak our minds, but let me say one PSA. This is not to you if you have young children.
No.
Very good reasons that you might want to beat traffic, and it looks like it's down and out. There's always exceptions. But for those of you that are terrible well weather, what is it called? Well weather fans?
Fair weather, like our tight end.
Well, I thought that. Okay, never mind.
He's not a fair weather person. His last name is Fairweather.
It took me a second to get there. We're still tired, folks. Do not come back in here if you are going to leave just because you got upset about this team leaving. That is despicable. I got nothing for him. Nothing for you whatsoever. You, my friends, for those of you that left for that reason, are part of the problem. I said it. There it is. All right. Overtime.
Golly. How many overtime games have you seen in person, Kyle? It's okay if you don't know because I'm not entirely sure myself.
The one that always sticks in my mind was Cadillac's game against Syracuse, triple overtime. He goes around the end to score and win,
Correct.
I believe.
Yeah.
I was there for that one. I feel like I've been here for one other overtime game that didn't work in our. Missouri homecoming was overtime. If you remember that.
Oh yeah, I forget. Okay, I was there for that one. I forgot that one.
And we won. Both of
we did win, and then you were there for Iron Bowl for 3 years ago. Bryce Young Iron Bowl.
Yes,
TJ Finley Iron Bowl.
Yeah. Thanks for that one.
No, see that one, and I have forgotten the Missouri one, which was also 21, and this one. I think are the only 3 I've been to. But gosh, it's like it adds another level of anxiety, I think, because it's just do or die any moment. The whole point, I understand that. But and especially with which I guess that would have happened with both of them, the whole 2-point conversion thing. It's just like, it's happening right now. It's someone's winning and someone's losing, and just adds so much. I think it added so much tension, but also excitement to a stadium that was already just buzzing.
Just buzzing, just ready. Was so ready for this night. The entire night was amazing, and then it just amped up on top of that. And I think I went from here to there to in terms of like my heart rate, and convinced we were about to win, and then we didn't. Convinced we're about to lose, and then we didn't. Amazing plays that were made by several players, offensively and defensively. So you can say what you want about mistakes made in the first half, mistakes made in the second half. What mattered the most to this team all season and in the moment was to get the job done when your backs were against the wall, and they finally did it and took several punches to the face. Correct. Every single time while they're doing it, and they stood up every single time in quadruple overtime. Is it too much to say, Austin? I've heard this statement leaving the stadium since we the time before we did this podcast. this is up there with some of the best games at Auburn in the modern era. Are we too ahead of ourselves in saying that?
No, I like as far as best football games that have happened in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Yeah, I think you're getting a little bit out of hand. When I say modern, I'm thinking about our lifetimes. Let's say the last 30 years or so. Is this one of the best games that we've watched in Jordan-Hare Stadium? Let's say top. Could you put it in a top 10 easily?
Of course, I'm sitting here trying to put them all in. I mean, you're not going top 2. That's never going to happen.
No.
Ever.
I don't think top 5 clearly.
No. No. I think it's probably, if it's not top 10, it's probably sitting there knocking on the door. First team out, maybe in this playoff era, we'll say.
Look at you, Tyne.
I could see it getting very close, and I'm not even talking about the circumstances around it, A&M being ranked, all that. Just we've talked about the college football video game here multiple times. When you play a really good one, they tell you, right, like you have played an instant classic. It's number whatever. I think you get one of those for this game. Like I think if Kyle, you had done your simulation and it turned out exactly. I know I wasn't going to harp on that. I was just going to say if you had done your simulation and it did exactly that, I think you would have gotten one. I think it's a classic.
Yeah, I love that.
Here's another way to say it. When we do next summer, when we do SEC Takeover, it'll be played.
Look at you. Do
you disagree?
Right? No, I love that. I love both of those descriptions. In a video game, it would label it as an instant classic, and it will be played next year on the SEC Takeover.
100%. And in a good time slot, not 2 a.m.
But is that also a statement about how bad things were this year that was the only option out there? You can look at
we still got a whole athletic year for them to choose stuff, but I think it'll get picked.
That's fair. But I'm just going to sit here and say this: is it too much? I think there's a little bit of overblown statements in the emotional situation, saying this. Oh, it's one of the greatest.
Totally
ever.
Fine.
But we're probably looking at in the modern era definitely one of the most exciting finishes and how the ebbs and flow of the game, at least in the last 5 years, in ones that ended in a victory. Probably,
we're looking at in that vein, do you have an issue with storming the field?
Okay. That's a great question, and I'm just going to use that to segue into our next topic.
That's great. I love that.
It's almost like you knew what we were going to talk about, and that we talked pre-show.
Not always the case, folks.
I love pulling the curtain back and just being self-deprecating about it. All right, we have dove into the game and the main topics from that. I'm sure we left some things out, but let's talk about just the game day, the other elements around it that made it such a wonderful day on the Plains. And frankly, we're not going to do justice to all of these things, but let's start here with storming the field.
We'll start and work our way backwards.
Well, I think that's a good
technically, way to do it. But anyway, go ahead.
I see where you're going, and I kind of agree with the way that's phrased. This storming the field initially felt wrong.
I think we're going to be in agreement here.
I realized what was taking place, and I saw the ball dropped by the receiver for Texas A&M. I saw the usual running out onto the field of the media, other people that have those type of credentials that can run out there. And I'm like, all right, yeah, okay, everybody's exciting moment. And then I realized, oh, that's not just a few rogue fans and students running the field. That's everybody. And the next thing you know, my crew that I'm with, they realize what's happening, and they've never experienced it, at least that I know of, experienced a storming the field. I've done it twice for two Iron Bowls, the big one, and another pretty big one as well. That one felt a little bit disingenuous too, the second one, but hey, we're not here to be, judges of that. I will say this though. I asked the question, are we really doing this as I ran down the ramp from the upper deck with them the entire time? So I questioned it, but did it stop me? It sure didn't. So what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Emily kind of brought it up. She didn't bring it up like super early in the game, but she said, I think as it was evident we're competing, whereas we get to overtime, she said, do you think they'll do it? And I said, I don't know. And she said, I hope they don't. Like, I don't think that'd be right. Sorry, I'm about to cough.
That's fine. He's so hoarse from yesterday that he's trying to like. His voice has like very few limits left. For those that watch the show too, you got to see some great faces there.
That
Too.
I'm telling you, it's wrecking my life. What was I saying? Emily. And so I said, I don't know what they'll do, but I was kind of in agreement with her. I was like, this seems a little bit much. And then it happened, right? I get done hugging my brother, hugging Emily, hugging my mom, all the random people around us. And I look up and there's like already 3,000, 4,000 people on the field.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, they're going. And then I started thinking about it. And I think my brother Ashton actually brought it up first, but he said, those kids, because let's be honest, the student section leads that, right? Like if they're doing it, then it's just gung ho. We're all going.
One point though, and as many have pointed out already here and online, I think the recruits led it more than anything.
I saw that. And so, which you have to love. But I think to see the students do it, you have to think about there's seniors there who've had a pretty crappy 4 years of football. Pretty crappy 4 years.
Seniors on and off the field.
On and off the field who have not gotten anything like this in the football realm. And I say that to say because I know they've had exquisite and exemplary times in other sports. But their older siblings or their older friends got to do it multiple times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
2-3 times.
Yeah. So for me, it's one of those things that I'm kind of like, you know what? Good for them. Good for them. It's A&M. It's been a rough year. We've all been feeling that. But they got to experience something, and some of them, it's the last time they'll do it as students. So good for them. I hope that they had a blast. And Auburn's storming of the fields, I'm biased. I'll always be, but it just looks prettier than everyone else's. And especially when you do it at the correct time, which other schools in the country seem to have a really, really hard problem doing.
And some people don't ever get to do it ever.
Correct.
You know, I think I like what you said. I'm going to give credit to my friend Clint Richardson and yours for speaking so well about how great the color palette on a color wheel Auburn is, because orange and navy are opposite of them.
Yeah.
And that's why they pair so well. When you see all of that on a field together and it kind of meshes together, and it doesn't become orange and navy, but it just becomes Auburn, you know, like it just looks good. It's picture perfect, because you can make out a little bit of everything. We're all mixed together. Hey, did I just get philosophical here? Like I think I just call me, Socrates. I tried to throw the AU in there. Boy. It didn't work anyway. Okay, stop while you're ahead. But it looks beautiful, and I will say this. I think you can choose to be uppity about this, and I probably had a touch of that as it was happening and running down there, and kind of wishing it didn't happen. And then you get on there, and then you see the pure joy of, and I'm not even talking about the fans. And I want to tell a quick story here. So I got on the field, and I'm not supposed to admit that. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
It is what it is. Didn't have to ruin any property. They were letting everybody in at that point. And
what are you going to do?
Did it the proper way. I made a point to try to get through the mob, which made me feel very claustrophobic at times, and I don't get that way that easily. But as I got closer to the tunnel and the students and the players that were still out there.
Which tunnel?
Main tunnel? The main tunnel. And that's where everybody was. We put out some videos of that. I've got Cam Coleman celebrating with people. I've got videos and pictures of some of the offensive linemen. Jarquez Hunter, who I wasn't able to capture because he came by so fast. Was running around celebrating with fans. Several others, I couldn't get their numbers or their faces down, right away, because it was such a mob down there. And I wish I'd done this before the show, because I want to give him a call out. There's an offensive lineman that is walking through this crowd, and obviously happy, celebrating and stuff like that. And he could, and as he's being told, good game and great, so proud of you guys. He can do the traditional, like, thanks, just kind of in getting through, and be frustrated that he's trying to get through to his fans and his family, all that stuff. He is literally taking the time to acknowledge people as they come slapping him on it, and you're hanging on him and stuff, and goes, I think I'm quoting him, sincerely, thank you guys for sticking with us and being here tonight. Like,
That's awesome.
Several times saying that to people and taking the time to say more than just, oh, thanks, stuff like that. That to me made it all worth it. Is that cheesy? Is that, you may make fun of me for saying that? What is that? Is that corny? I don't care. That's it right there. And so if you have a problem with it, go kick rocks with open-toed shoes. I'm going to quote my wife. That's all I'm going to say. If you got a problem with it, go kick rocks with open-toed shoes. You're welcome, Jessica. I love you. You got quoted on the show tonight. At the same time, it is unfortunate that, we have a fine, and will there be people that make fun of it? Sure. So what? Did we have a great time? Was it a terrible season? Did we need something to be happy about? Sure.
Yes.
Well, we'll argue semantics down the line. Anything else we need to say about the field storming?
I don't think so. Saw many people got to take their souvenirs of the bushes. Saw many people holding their twigs at tumors.
Twigs at tumors.
Twigs at tumors.
Somebody put it on a t-shirt.
So it's always a fun thing to say that you had a memento from. But I'm glad that you weren't injured or damaged any property on your way down.
No. Did not take any bushes with me this time. There may be some still sitting in my room from other times. I want to talk about the band. I know this is a weird switch, but we got other things we want to talk about. We want to talk about a night that was just great enough in itself. We all knew it was coming. The marching band was going to be putting on another light up show. If you missed it, they did a humongous Metallica show. Well, if you missed this in general, you missed it. Like you just missed it. That's it. Like you can't make up for what you missed. However, with like the Metallica show, which we have a video up on E2C Network, the Auburn Experience YouTube channel, by the way, as well as we do for this and most, if not all, the other current and most recent band performances. You should go watch them, by the way. Put on an absolutely outstanding show.
Really cool.
It's a little different because this was a show we watched week previous, 3 weeks ago because of the bye week. And so we were familiar with the songs they were going to do, the formations they were going to do. But boy, does putting some lights on things just make it pop a little bit more. And I mean, I know that's a duh, but I'm trying not to be hyperbolic, Austin. I think they nailed it again.
It was beautiful. I honestly, I think I like this one more than Metallica. I know Metallica was award winning. And I would be surprised if this one is not as well. But the way they did this one, the formations, the lights, obviously, looked really good. It just looked really good. You could tell they'd worked hard on it and put it all together. I think we forget about that. We think about, we're so excited for a night football game, and the football team's so excited to have the energy for a night football game. The band's there every week too, and a night football game gets them just as jazzed up too, to know they get to do something like this and add their lights in, or know they get to do, be under the lights playing the songs that they play nonstop. But it's a different element for them too. Right. And so I was excited for them to be able to perform and do such a good job at night, because it's their first time this year as well, for a big game like that.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing that stuck out to me. So yeah, we were familiar with the songs, the formations, all that, and we kind of knew what we were getting in that element. The lights were the cool part. I think the magnitude of the competition with the Metallica show kind of overshadowed maybe the technological advanced stuff that was going on with the lights and stuff. Just the cool factor of the first time with that Metallica show was just big enough, too big for all the different elements. I think what was pulled off by, and I don't know who to credit for this, some type of engineering at Auburn, that put in the work to do some very interesting things with the formations this time, where they had some things kind of lighting up in waves. And I know they did it last time too, but this time it almost felt like you had more time because you were familiar with the songs, familiar with the formations, to pay attention to those things. And I found myself going, wow, behind the camera in our filming last time, and trying to stay focused to keep things still so I don't shake things. And so to me, I think that's the performance great, the whole show great. But that's what stuck out to me tonight was the technology behind it and how they sequenced some things that made it really interesting to watch, amazing to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree. It looked flawless. and that is not a word that gets associated with technological things very often, right? I think that the way things flowed and the way things appeared as they had planned for them to, I don't know how, I am the last person that needs to have technological give opinions on how to do things, but I think the way they probably planned and developed the software or however they were going to do to put that presentation on couldn't have been better. And I know that goes with timing of how the members move and get to their formations on time, which they practice more than we could ever imagine. But just everything about it couldn't have looked any better.
It was amazing. What an incredible show from people on the field, show of people that were supposed to be on the field with the band. In lieu of time, I'm going to skip us ahead a little bit. We do owe it to recognition of seniors, but maybe that's better served even when the season's over with. And I know this was special for them, but there is one element of this that I think I need to bring us down a little bit on in Fields. I think you know where I'm going. There are some entities of this stadium that we just played our last game with. And I think a lot of people forgot about it in the moment. The North End Zone video board.
Yeah.
Just had
not a video board.
Sorry. Scoreboard.
It will be, but not a video board now.
Just had its swan song. And as I removed myself from the masses, I made a point to take a slow, leisurely stroll across the stadium before they started, clearing things out over to that video board. Did it again.
Yep.
Scoreboard.
Okay. You're tired.
I'm already used to it. I'm part of the, I'm paid by the company or something like that. And just went over there and spent some time with the old gal. It felt very solemn, just me and her, just standing there looking at her, thinking about all the fun times that I've looked over to that scoreboard, and said, "Man, that was an amazing game." Looking at the final score, there's something poetic about just the look of it and the old history and things, and certainly that will feel lost in the newness of a video board. But as we discussed, with whether it's about the time, the town changing in time and all that, things have to change. But she's gone. She's gone essentially. I mean, she's not gone yet. She's still there.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm with you. I sit very close to it. But it's been there my whole life. It's been what I've looked at. And I think I look at I've spent a lot of time at high school football games. And so those are the scoreboards, right? The light bulbs and the what you think of when you think of a scoreboard, not these video jumbotrons anymore, when at its core. And so it's hard. There's nothing like a picture of the scoreboard, right? When it's lit up and when it's got the analog looking numbers. And I don't know. I'm hopeful that maybe, it's going to be torn. It's going to be taken apart. I'm sure.
I was about to say, you would care that. Be careful how you phrase that.
I'm hopeful some of it is preserved and put in a spot, because it's a piece of Auburn history. It's going to be very weird. I don't think enough people are really remembering and I mean, it was a nuts night. I understand that, but I don't think people are really remembering it as much that, hey, it's gone, until we get in there next year. And it'll be interesting to see. It'll be a development of Jordan-Hare Stadium that is new, and like you said, has to happen sometimes, and you could argue is needed. But definitely a bittersweet moment. But man, it was a good one to send her out on.
Would you say that you don't know what you got until it's gone?
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
There's a song. There's
pretty
a song,
poetic, right?
Yeah. That's it. And we just played our last game with the old girl. I will say this. War Eagle Productions, if you don't give me some video with some somber music and like a long, slow pano shot into the video board with voiceovers of some of the greatest moments and
Scoreboard,
watching.
yeah.
And did I do it again? My
You
goodness.
did it.
Scoreboard as we pan in, and then it's actually clicking down the time, and then as you
That's pretty good, Kyle.
Get zoomed in on it, all it does, it clicks down to 0, and then they just pan off into the distance like that into
pretty
an
good
sunset. If I don't get some version of that, y'all have not done your jobs. let's not talk about the fact that y'all just slam it every single time, slam dunk it, and make me cry during homecoming. But I'm putting the challenge to you, War Eagle Productions. I gave you the idea. You probably have already thought about it, but please give us that. And this man right here will get real misty watching that video 99 times in that same day. So whether that's a big deal to you or not, it is a part of Auburn history, and that's why we value it, because it's all part of the Auburn experience. I know we left several things off there. We could have talked about the game, the weekend, the moments, but we did our best, and certainly there are many more episodes of the Auburn experience if we need to cover some of those in the future. This episode 103, thank you for tuning in with us, watching and listening, whether it was live or on the replay. If you want to keep up with me, do so on X at Kyle Loomis 24. Where can they find you?
Yeah, at X, at Instagram, at Austin G. Scott. We've already put some pictures out, so hope you enjoy those. And hey, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving. And boy, oh boy, get some sleep, folks, because it ain't done yet. But it sure was a great end to a home football season. So we talk to you again. War Eagle.
War Eagle.